My contacts like actively hate me right now, but I don't want to put my glasses on, so just gonna deal with it. Hey y'all, my name is Nat. I hope you're having a terrific day today, and for this video we are going to be doing my mid-year reading stats. So before we get into anything bookish, make sure to hit like and subscribe down below, as well as tell me in the comments how many pages have you read thus far this year. As I mentioned, we are going to be doing my mid-year reading stats. This is because I love looking at these beautiful graphs. Also, I'm sure you guys do too, so I'll be putting those babies right here. As you can tell, we are at my desk today, and that is because I have to keep up with all of these statistics on my computer. I'm currently at 65 books. My reading goal for the year was 75, so I have nearly completed that. My current page count is about 21,960 pages. Holy crap, that is so much. Included in that is the number of pages I have read in audiobook format, but the number of hours of audiobooks I've listened to is currently at 246. In reality, I usually listen at like 1.5 to 2 times speed, so you could, technically speaking, cut this number in half. Of these books, 32 have been for adult audiences, about 27 have been for YA audiences, and 6 fall into the new adult segment. After that, my genre breakdown, which I am proud to say is still pretty diversified, just like it was at the end of last year. Starting out, I have read 4 contemporaries so far, shockingly 19 fantasies, 10 graphic novels, all of which were read in July, 7 historical fictions, 4 mysteries, 7 nonfictions, 10 romances, and 4 thrillers. As I mentioned, this is pretty widespread. I am once again shocked to see the fantasy is so high, but I think I'm coming to realize that, okay, I guess I am pretty much a fantasy reader also. I just usually stick in the YA fantasy section, not so much adult. Usually the adult area starts to go more towards high fantasy, and I figured out that once we pass a certain point, I just don't care that much about all the world building. I am also happy to see that the romance number is so high. I really enjoy the romance books I read, and with that, oftentimes I read those really quickly, so in order to keep my books read number up, I just need to keep reading romances, clearly. Next up is the rating breakdown. Personally, I really like this stat because it can show me, do I actually know what I like reading? And you know, after looking at this, I think I might. Thus far this year, I have DNF'd 10 books, and thankfully, majority of those have actually been book club reads. I don't mind DNFing those if I'm not having a good time. Bye, sorry, I just won't be partaking in this month's conversation. I have had 0, 1, or 1.5 stars, thank God. I have only had 1 2-star and 1 2.5 stars. I have had 9 for both 3 stars and 3.5. Clearly, I most often read 4-star books because I am at 22 4 stars for the year. After that, I am at 10 4.5 stars. And then finally, I have read 12 5 stars for the year, and I love that. I love to see high numbers in those high ratings. Currently, my average rating for the year is 4 stars. How shocking is that? I actually, again, looking at this graph, it's really not that shocking. Next up, let's look at the race and ethnicities of the authors I've been reading from. At the top, I have read from 7 authors who are Black this year. I have read from 6 Asian authors. 3 authors are Latinx. And then finally, I have read from 49 authors who are white this year. I would like to diversify this a little more, but I am happy that it looks better than where I was probably at this time last year. Following along with that, the authors' identities. And for these, I have read from 52 authors who are cisgender, 4 authors who identify as genderqueer, 1 author who is intersex, and then finally 8 authors who fall under the transgender umbrella. After that, the genders of the authors I have read, I am happy to see that I have read from 48 authors who identify as female. I've read from 6 authors who identify as male, and then finally I have read from 11 authors who identify on the non-binary spectrum. I have also counted on the books that I'm reading on whether they are own voices or not. My goal, I believe, was 25% for the end of the year. I am happy to report that I am currently at about 37%, and that is fantastic. I set my goal at 25% knowing that it was doable, but I also knew I wanted to surpass that, and I am happy to see that I have been doing so. For me to consider a story own voices, I often base it on their race, their ethnicity, their gender, or their sexuality. All right, so that is it for all of the stats that I keep track of in my book spreadsheet. However, I thought it would be fun to include some of the stats that storygraph generates. I recently started using storygraph as my preferred book social media platform, and I really love that it creates these different statistics. So a few of those I'm going to go over here are going to be the moods of the stories I read, the pace of the books I am reading, as well as the page number trend. And this one I found really interesting, actually. So starting out for the moods I read, first off, you can tell this is incredibly diversified because nothing surpasses 25%. The biggest ones overall, however, are emotional, adventurous, lighthearted, mysterious, funny, and dark. So interesting that like half of those fall into one category and the other half fall into a different category. So clearly I have one of two moods when it comes to reading. After that is the pace of the book I am reading. So first out, 28 of the books I have read this year fall under the fast pacing, about 31 fall under medium pacing, and then finally only 6 fall under slow. So clearly I definitely prefer a story that is on the faster side, which I do think is a little surprising just because I often consider myself more of a character-based reader. So I often can be more drawn towards stories that are on the slower side and take more of the time to develop the characters and the relationships and the dynamics between them. But apparently I really love plot also. After that one, the final one is the page number breakdown. 13 of the books I have read this year fall under 300 pages or more. 49 of the books this year I have read fall between 300 and 499 pages, and then only one book falls under 500 or more pages. I'm shocked that I have so many in the 300 to 499 category. I talk about quite often that I am actually pretty scared of big books. It's definitely a deterrent for me to pick a book up if I see it is really thick. It just psychs me out and I think, oh my god, in the time it would take me to read that, I could blast through 3 other books. But apparently, I am getting better about that because I am starting to lean more towards the heavier side. Some would definitely argue that 300 to 499 is really not that long of a book, and trust me, I do understand that. I have read books that definitely surpass 500 pages, but those are few and far between. Not an epic fantasy reader here. I'm not out here reading The Priory of the Orange Tree at like 800 pages, or, you know, Brandon Sanderson's Bricks that are all like in the thousands. So while my conclusion probably isn't astounding for other people, I'm proud of myself, okay? All right, y'all, so that is it. As always, thank you so much for coming to my channel today, guys. I really appreciate it. Make sure to hit like and subscribe down below, and I come out with videos on Monday and Friday, but until then, I hope you continue to have a terrific day. Love you, bye!